Update. I just found out that my husband, separated, is dating my boss. I don't know what to do. Original post. I started this job about 1.5 years ago. I can't say what it is because I want us to stay anonymous. And our country is very small, so my boss would probably be recognized. The moment I started, I felt like I was in the right place. My boss, the owner of the company, is very cool and kind. She's self-made and she loves her job. She does a lot of the dirty work herself. That bosses who has 30 to 35 employees wouldn't have to do. But she loves it. On top of that, we have a 6-hour workdays. Our salaries are 20% higher than the market, and we have 7 paid vacation weeks a year. Her reasons? She appreciates us, and she's getting richer anyway. I was so proud of working with a woman like her, so I wouldn't shut up talking about her to my husband, especially in the beginning. My husband was as fascinated by her as I am, until I met her in a company party last Christmas. She must have been beautiful when she was young. She could have been a model. I think his fascination became a crush or an obsession, or maybe worse, love. Now he follows her on social media. Her accounts are private, but I stalk her with my account. He also follows the company IG and likes every picture she's in. He asks about her all the time. She's a very private person, but when her divorce from her ex-husband was finalized at the beginning of this year, we all found out because he started showing up to work. He owned half of her company now, and he started to try to make changes in our work hours and salaries. We found out that her husband had cheated on her with a younger girl, who he also tried to employ in our company. She still works with us. She, with probably lawyers involved, eventually convinced her husband to sell her back a share. We're still in this process now. My husband has followed all this and he was so sad for her and so angry. How could anyone do this when they had a woman like her? If it was him, he would cherish her, love her, blah blah blah. Who leaves a woman for a girl? I got very angry and told him that all men prefer younger women if they could choose. He laughed at me and told me only losers do that. The last drop was last Friday. We were out for a movie night and we saw my boss with a young man. He looked his mid-20s and my husband lost it. He didn't know that she dated younger men. He wanted us to go say hello, but I refused and yelled at him to control himself because he looked pathetic. When we got home, he was frenetically going through her social media until he found a guy and he sighed in relief. The guy was her nephew, and we didn't see the whole company, but they were out with other family members. My husband was so happy, like a weight lifted off his chest. I lost it on him. I started crying and yelling and told him he was in love with her, and he was shocked when I pushed and kicked him out of our bedroom and locked the door. He stood outside trying to calm me down, telling me he loved me and I'm his girl, and always will be. Then he said something that ruined me even further. It's not like someone like her would look my way. I haven't slept since then. Why is he feeling like this? Is it love? Infatuation? She's too old for my husband, so what is it? And why would he think he couldn't have her? He's very handsome and still young. She should feel lucky a young, handsome man likes her. And does he mean I'm less than her to accept him? Or is it purely her money and status? He refuses to admit anything. And what can I do now? I love this job. I love the benefits. Thanks to this job, our life has improved and we can afford more than just the necessities. I'm starting to hate my boss though, and I hate myself for idolizing her in front of my husband. Edit. Sorry this is getting longer. But I have spoken to my mother, sister, granny, and some friends about this, and about what happened last Friday, and they all think I'm making a big deal out of nothing. Now for the top advice before reading the updates. You know your husband is at fault here. Not you and not your boss. He's acting very inappropriately, and the things he said would make me feel very insecure as well. Put the blame where it lies, at his feet, for saying and doing the things he has to make you feel this way. I would say, either attend therapy together or even separately or consider a break. You need time to evaluate the situation properly. And your family isn't being very supportive by dismissing your very valid feelings. I wouldn't be asking them for advice going forward. I get they are cheaper than a therapist, but they are clearly being biased. This is not your fault. Your husband is on the hook for this one. It's not like someone like her would look my way. It sounds like he's saying that if your boss gave him a chance and looked his way, he'd probably jump at it. I understand why this is like the straw that broke the camel's back. You don't trust this as a reassurance of anything other than your right to feel betrayed. To be honest, I find it very difficult to feel sympathy for OP because she subtly tries to bring down her boss / make herself appear superior due to her age alone. 1. She's too old for him. There is only 9-year age difference between the boss and the husband is also almost in his 30s. He and OP are both no longer some young and naive teens / early 20s anymore. 2. She must have been beautiful when younger. She's only 38 and technically still young. And beauty / attractiveness doesn't magically disappear after hitting 30. Also, some people age like fine wine. 3. Suggesting boss somehow got cheated on because the affair partner was younger. Except that cheating only says what a POSDX was. The age of OP's boss nor that of the dumb affair partner didn't have anything to do with it. Time for OP and husband both start to act mature. Husband to stop acting like an obsessed teen / stalker. And OP stop attributing attractiveness to be age-bound and putting the blame on someone else than her husband. Now for the first update. Hi, I'm in so much pain and I don't know what to do. I don't want to do something stupid while hurting. I got a lot of good advice last time I was here, so I don't know. Maybe you can help me this time too? So, I went against my family and friends and asked my husband for separation. I felt like my heart couldn't take it anymore. My intuition told me that my husband wasn't all mine. This was shortly after the event at the movies. My husband was in total confusion. He said that I was making a mistake, making a mountain out of a molehill, but he moved in with his brother, however. We decided to start couples counseling too. It went well the first 3 weeks or so, but my husband became more and more reluctant to participate, and sometimes he just canceled on me last second. He stopped showing up this month and he also stopped calling and texting me. I was even more heartbroken, but it just solidified that my intuition was right and that I was doing the right thing, seeing that he is not interested in working on us anymore. I chose not to quit my job. I still love it, even with all the heartbreak, and I really needed the benefits. Like, I'm the only one I know who is having 3 weeks paid vacation around Christmas and New Year. I never see my boss anyway, and she doesn't even know of my existence. My husband eventually stopped being active on Instagram, and I thought it was normal because we were going through adversities. Until yesterday when his brother shared my husband's stories of the night. My husband was in a restaurant holding a woman's hand. I could only see her hand. So, my husband has just blocked me and my family and friends from seeing his updates. I commented WTF, and this morning my husband called me, for the first time in months, totally scared and started begging, "Please don't ruin this for me. Please don't ruin this for me." I told him, "What do you mean?" He said, "Don't tell her about us." I never made a connection at first. It never ever crossed my mind even that that woman in the picture was my boss. I started crying and screaming at him. "How could you do this to me? How could you tell me that it was all in my head when it's obviously all over your Instagram?" He said it just happened, that I dumped him and he was single and just happened to find her on Bumble. He begged me not to ruin this for him. She knows he's in the process of divorce, but she doesn't know that he already knew who she was, or that she was the boss of his soon-to-be ex. They have been seeing each other for 6 weeks, about 2 weeks after I asked him to move out, and it is getting serious. He begged for a good 5 minutes, telling me how he hasn't been this happy in all his life, and that I shouldn't ruin his happiness, since again I was the one who ended our marriage. I have been crying since this morning. I don't know what to do. I want to ruin him and his happiness, but I don't know if I have any right to do that, and I'm so worried about losing my job. Please help. Now for more advice before reading the latest updates. Wait, so they met at a company Christmas party? Does she know he is your husband? Girl, you need to talk to her. Look, don't worry about losing your job, because if they become serious, do you think your boss will still treat you fairly? There is a high chance he will give a different story. Update us once you talk to her. Do this for yourself and be strong. She probably didn't recognize him because he told me that she thinks they met on Bumble. As everyone else has said, you need to tell her. You also need to tell her what happened in your relationship before and how he was constantly stalking her social media and the comments he made to your face as his wife before dating her about her. You can't double guess yourself. You have a voice. I see the comments that you're really debating it because he thinks you did it because you're bitter. Of course you're bitter. You were in a marriage with someone you loved. And vindictive? Who cares? He's a freaking a-hole. And you're also worried about her and what she might think? Please, you have a voice. Do not stay silent. None of this is your fault. It's all on your ex-husband. I hate seeing how women lose themselves because of what might happen. Look at what your husband did to you. Really, take a step back and look at what he did. He doesn't deserve anything good. If I were you, I would have told her a long time ago. And who cares what she thinks? Personally, I would find it disgusting that a married man was actively looking for me in social media and being angry for seeing me with someone else while he's married. What she decides to do is on her, but listen to me if you read this comment. Do not hide. I think you need to tell her. If the guy I was seeing for 6 weeks happened to be stalking me before we met, I sure as heck would want to know. How much of his relationship with her is real? How much of a show is he putting on for this poor woman who's already been screwed over by one man? Of course he is happy. He has the object of his desire. He literally got what he wanted. How did he even find her on Bumble? Let alone match with her and start dating her? I'm not even buying this. I also feel that she deserves the truth, but he will probably think I was being vindictive and bitter about our separation. And wouldn't she resent me if she likes him? Or would she be grateful? Oh my goodness, OP. I read your previous post. Given what you've said about your boss, going through a divorce where her husband was cheating with one of her employees is very private, etc., I think you truly need to say something. Your soon-to-be ex's behavior, blocking you and your friends and everything, is incredibly troublesome. Your soon-to-be ex sounds obsessive and stalkerish. I'm so sorry this is happening to you. How stressful. I'm not too sure which country you live in, but part of me wonders if you should either go through your work employment lawyers when going to your boss with this information. I wouldn't put it past your soon-to-be ex to try and sabotage you. I would also file a police report with your concerns. Her husband employed his mistress after the divorce. When my boss bought her company back from her ex, she didn't fire the mistress. Now the mistress is engaged to the ex-husband. Now for the second update. Okay, my husband has been calling me non-stop, but I have now answered him. He is panicking about me telling her everything, so he begged me to give him the chance to tell her himself. His words were, I never stalked her or creeped on her. I just fell for her and was scared that she would think I was creepy since you thought the same. Give me a chance to tell her the truth in my own pace, so at least she doesn't think I'm a liar or a freak like you seem to think. He still swears they matched on Bumble. I didn't know what that is until now. I'm just devastated right now. He has no regards for me and my feelings. Everything he is thinking of is not to scare her away. When I told him this, he said that I was the one who left him. People fall out of love, and that's okay and no one's fault, and that I was in the right for ending the relationship. But I was the one who ended it all the same. Don't hurt us, and I promise to give you everything you want. She's happy with me, so don't hurt us. Now for the last update. I talked to my boss yesterday, Monday, after lunch. I told her everything. Basically, how I was so happy I found this job, how I looked up to her and was proud to be working for someone like her, and that this rubbed off on my husband who grew more obsessed with her each day. I apologized for using obsessed, because I didn't know how things were between them, but that it was how I perceived his feelings. I told her about the day at the movie, and how it basically made me realize that our issues were greater than I thought. I told her that I know and accept that my marriage is over, and that my husband didn't love me anymore, and that the reason I'm telling her now isn't to judge or blame her, but to let her know the whole story, because it's just fair that she knows that he has been following her life for over a year now. Because from what I understood from my husband, you were under the impression that you just matched with him on a dating app, I said. She was silent the whole time I was talking, just listening to me, until I mentioned the dating app, and that's when she interrupted me. That's not how we met. He has been a patron at my gym for the past 6 months, maybe a year, she said. I know her gym. It's the one across our workplace. She works out there every morning before coming work. I didn't know he had joined it, because I knew him to be a member at the gym near our home. He has been, without telling me, working out just across the street from me every morning, without telling me. She looked like how I felt, shocked. I apologized and told her that he has kept dating her a secret from me, and that he begged me not to talk to her, telling me that he hasn't been this happy and so on. She didn't say much, just thanked me for telling her. Today she asked if she could talk to me. She apologized for everything that happened to me and asked if I needed any help. I said no. She thanked me again, and when I got home, my husband was there. He had called me at least 50 times, but my phone wasn't silent. He was crying, calling me bitter and vindictive and pathetic. He said I ruined his relationship and future. She's scared of him now, and it is all my fault. He wants me to tell her that he is not dangerous nor he is a pervert. He wants me to tell her that I was the one who wanted a divorce, and that people fall out in love, and it is nobody's fault, and neither it is creepy. He hasn't done anything wrong. He stayed faithful to me and would have stayed that way if I didn't kick him out. He asked me if I ever felt unsafe with him, to make rumors about him being a stalker and a creep. I should tell the truth. I asked him to leave and that I'm starting the divorce, and from now on, he could only contact me once I got a lawyer through them. I have been crying since he left. We haven't seen each other for weeks, and he had no feelings whatsoever for me. He looked demented and full of sorrow like a broken little boy. How could it change this fast? Before we separated, he held me and begged me to believe him and his love for me. Was it all a lie? My whole entire relationship? Good night and thank you for the support. Thanks for updating, OP. I'm glad you got to tell your boss and that she listened to you. Now you know how much of a creep your ex is. He openly stalked her at the gym all year, and your boss is quite rightly scared. I just can't believe he would have kept all that crazy inside himself if you'd stayed together. I'm concerned for you, OP. You shouldn't be living alone while your ex is behaving so desperately. Can you have a friend come stay? Adding in that him wanting you to pimp him out to her is just straight up delusional. He talked up how much they had bonded in such a short time, but I bet she was just enjoying a few nice dates with a guy who had been hitting on her all year. This is still his house, so until you have a separation agreement, you may get into trouble changing the locks. That's not how we met. He has been a patron at my gym for the past 6 months, maybe a year. Things were happening much earlier than you thought. Thanks for your update. I really needed to see the end of story. And OP, know you're stronger. Much, much stronger to face your fear and did everything you did. You can feel worthless, that you don't deserve sympathy, to be loved and other bad thoughts. But you know you value yourself. It's okay to feel bad, to cry, to ask if you did the right thing. It's gonna be a really rough process, but I promise that yourself in future will hug yourself today and say, thanks for standing up for us, for what you went through. Best wishes.